All right, listen, you and me both know your New Year's resolutions aren't going to work out. They're the same ones you made last year. There's no point in fooling yourself. Spare yourself the shame. Ditch them right now. Make a new one, breaking out of the pentatonic scale. The rut that you're in, this is something we can do together, and it's going to start in this lesson right here, okay? We're going to do this in the people's key, the key of G. Everybody's like, oh, I'm going to learn G major, and then I'm going to learn major pentatonic, minor pentatonic, and then everything ends up sounding like E minor because it's position 1, major pentatonic, minor pentatonic, whatever. We're going to talk about how to play chords like you would in a song, and then how to accompany those chords with yourself while making the framework of the pentatonic scale, but then adding to it in like real life examples, okay? So when I say the key of G, the people's key, we're going to take the 3 main major chords in the key of G. It's going to be G major, C major, and D major, okay? Now you may have noticed I didn't play him G, C, D like a cowboy, like a 2022 cowboy. No, this is 2023. This is the new age. So I think that seeing these other chords with this shape, the A major shape, right, where it's just the same fret on the D, G, and B strings. So this would be your C major, 5, 5, 5. You could think of this as a string rooted C major chord, right? But we're starting right here, okay? So here's our G chord, 3B, 4G, 5D. Here's our C chord, and here's our D chord. Just the 5th fret and the 7th fret. Now what we're going to start doing is just start adding notes from maybe what you recognize as a pentatonic scale, but we're going to start adding to it, okay? So we might do something that sounds like this. Okay, so just real quick, we've got one thing that sounds a little bit different, and that comes from actually knowing the major scale. But I'm not going to teach it like the major scale because then you'd leave already. You'd be like, it's another resolution gone. So we're going to take the super slow. You're going to learn a lot. Trust me. Stick with me. This video is sponsored by Enya Guitars. I'm using the Enya X4 Carbon Fiber Pro Edition here. Really great guitar. Solid. Basically indestructible. Keep it in your car. Heat, cold. Not going to affect it. Always going to sound good. All right? So what we're going to do is let's talk about like, all right, why is the pentatonic scale a thing, and how can we even break out of it to cause a rut, right? So what we talked about at the very beginning as me mocking you and making fun of you is the E minor pentatonic scale looks like this. Right? Open 3, open 2, open 2, open 2, open 3, open 3. Now that happens to be the same as the G major pentatonic scale, but a lot of people, myself included when I was first starting out, would just kind of do the math where I would turn the major scale into the minor pentatonic scale, okay? No more. Now we're going to start seeing these as notes that we're going to add to chords, all right? So the notes would be E, G, A, B, D, E, okay? Now if we were to make this G major pentatonic, all we would do is start on G. G, A, B, D, E, G. Okay? Now doing it outside of an open position, let's just move it around more. So we can start it here. G, A, B, D, E, G. Or what I think is even better than that, G, A, B, D, E, G. Okay, so here's that G major pentatonic scale, which actually has a lot of value and utility when you kind of use it to just maybe like, always sounds good, right? Always hits the spot. There's nothing wrong with it. But I want to start adding it to maybe more of like a contextual kind of thing, right? So now the great thing about pentatonic is you can use it for any of the chords that become major chords, right? I can do the same notes essentially. I can use the C major pentatonic scale because I know that C major is the 4 chord G, A, B, C in the key of G. And I can use basically those same 5 notes starting on C, right? Again, here's C, C, D, E, G, right there, right? So C, D, E, G, A, 3, 5, 7, 5, 7. But I'm going to do this off of the shape that we started with, right? Now the root note, when you start on, again, what we're thinking of is A string rooted note is actually on the G string, right? The 5th fret on the G string is a C note. That's going to be our Mac Daddy, our 2023 note in this chord. So now, maybe I can start with something like that where I go C, D, E, or I can do it in a position you may be familiar with, C, D, E, and then what's the next one? G. We skipped one. A, C. I know that sounds familiar to you because guess what? It's the A minor pentatonic scale, which we said we weren't going to do, but there it is, just so you can recognize it. Really understanding where your issues are at is the first step in recovery, in pentatonic recovery, which is what we're calling it in 2023. All right? I want to go above and beyond with that same shape, right? The cool thing is, again, why it's great is you can start with just like a regular G chord. And just kind of mess around in between a G and a C and do its relative pentatonic thing. And it'll sound like you're doing something. But again, we want to know what we're doing. So what we're going to do is we're going to add one note, first of all right? So C's place in the key of G has a very special thing that we can do, right? And what happens is, what is this? What is the sound of this note? The 7th fret on the B string? Well, that's an F sharp, okay? The difference between the key of C and the key of G is that the key of G has an F sharp. So the reason that it sounds weird is because we were just playing C major pentatonic, thus implying C major. But see, this is where the problem is, right? Well, if you're just kind of playing C major pentatonic over a chord in the key of G, well then, you know, you might hit that F and the F sounds right. But really, that's the note that we want to eventually get, okay? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this and add that as our first little thing that we do, okay? So the reason that is because C's position in this key has what's called a sharp 4, right? Now we're almost tricking ourselves into learning a mode, but don't think about it as a mode because you're going to confuse everybody. So it's the same thing as we just did, but now we're going to add this. You're in luck though because we can finish the scale by just repeating what we did on the B string on the E string. Okay, so an interesting way to kind of think about maybe taking a chord within a key and then adding a mode. Okay, so now we have this new little mini scale that we just kind of took the pentatonic scale, fleshed it out in a way that I think is actually easier, just as easy to remember because remember you had that part down. So now just add your ring finger. Okay, and that's C's part. Now remember the next thing we said we're going to go to a D, right? Well now, let's do the exact same thing. Remember when we did that pentatonic thing starting on a D, again I just got the 7th fret, D, G, and B strings, 7, 9, 7, 9, 7, 10, 7, 10. Those are the top 3 strings, 7, 9, 7, 10, 7, 10. Now again, if I were in C's position, I could go, but that's not right. This is its own thing. D is the 5 chord in the key of G, G, A, B, C, D. So now all we have to do is take the same symmetry that we did in the previous one, but remember when we went from that C and we went 5, 7, 8, 5, 7, 8? Well, these notes still apply. So now, when we're on here, and we have 5, 9, we have 7, 9, 10, 7, 9, 10. Okay, so really cool way to maybe think about how the 4 and the 5 chord relate to each other in a way that we're actually learning all the notes really in this area, in the entire key. So we've taken the framework of that pentatonic scale, but now we're busting out of it. just with that one little kind of easy thing. In fact, I did a whole video on this in a different, coming at it from a different direction, which I'll link you to. Because I thought that was an eye-opening thing for me that I learned doing that 3 notes a string shred kind of practice that I did a few months back. Maybe it's even a year ago now. I have no concept of time. Now we're in the year 2023, 2023. But basically, what I found out was like, oh, if I just want to play all these same notes, I want to start here. I get this really symmetrical shape where it's like, all right, 3, 5, 7, 3, 5, 7. And then I can go forward 1, and now I'm 5, 7, 8, 5, 7, 8, which we just talked about. Then 7, 8, 10, 7, 8, 10, and then it goes so on and so forth, right? So again, that's a different way of looking at it just from a scale standpoint, but I'm thinking of this, I don't know, as a complementary lesson to that lesson, but doing it chord-based first, right? Because we have the 1 chord, the 4 chord, and the 5 chord. And again, once you start thinking of the 4 chord as just another major chord in the key that we can use the pentatonic framework, but then adding, I think you're really going to see that you can explore this a lot more in more meaningful ways, right? And it doesn't have to be coming from this C chord. If you just think of this in your mind's eye as like, all right, even if I'm playing this C major chord, and I'm in the key of G, maybe I can just like, oh, get to that 8th fret. And again, it's about maybe you're playing lead here while somebody else is playing the chords up here. Maybe you're looping the chords and then you're kind of getting into that. But it's all about connecting this to a chord, right? Because, like I said, music is always made of chords. The melodies are going to come from maybe things just kind of like very close to the chord tones, but that's why you need to know the non-pentatonic, the diatonic notes that are in a key, because they're really going to help you get like the full picture of a sound. And that's how your playing is going to get better, and it's going to sound less like pentatonic. And again, I'm not even hating on the pentatonic. Pentatonic is great. It is so easy to start with this framework, right? A minor pentatonic, B minor pentatonic. And then it's like, all right, maybe the first connection is, well, that A minor pentatonic goes with the C major chord. B minor pentatonic goes with D major chord. So if you know that, then the next step is just to take and then get those symmetrical shapes, right? 10, 8, 7, 10, 8, 7, D. 8, 7, 5, 8, 7, 5, C. And then all of these are coming from G major's Mac Daddy 2023 position. That's a weird phrase. I don't know why I said it like that, but it's too late now because Lord knows I don't really edit anything out of these videos. It's just one take. One take, straight shot. That's going to be the goal and the framework for 2023. So real quick, let's just talk about how we can move this. Let's do A major, while we're at it. Let's move everything 2 frets higher, but let's do it in a chord kind of philosophy. So A, I can't play A major and not play it as an A at 9 where I get that open B and E string. How good does this engine sound? This is not made of wood at all. This is carbon fiber. Give it up for the good people at Onion. I love it. So here's our 1 chord, right? And then we can there's A major pentatonic. The next chord would be D major, but not like G Mac Daddy's D major. Now, D is the 4 chord, right? So now we take what we learned about 7, 9, 10, 7, 9, 10. And then, without even thinking of the next chord yet, we could go to E's chord. And then now go 9, 10, 12, 9, 10, 12, because that's where that E major is going to take you. Okay? So, again, there's the 1 chord, pentatonic. The 4 chord, symmetrical shape where it's 2 frets and 1 fret. The the 5 chord, symmetrical shape where it's 1 fret, then 2 frets. You can walk it back into A major. And then wow, look at that. You're off to a great start this year. So anyways, let me know if you have any questions or comments, or if you want me to expand on this further, or if this made no sense to you. Let me know there too, because then maybe I can approach it in yet a different way. But this is going to be the year. This is going to be the year that we get you out of that pentatonic mindset and you get into that GMAC Daddy 2023 mindset. So thanks for watching. I'll talk to y'all soon.